Hello, Internet. Welcome back to another edition of Eric's Corner with a word of not so wise. As you can see, I'm doing another TED Talk with my neighbor. We were out here troubleshooting the four-wheel drive on his truck, and of course came in to drink a couple beers and got on a tangent. And as you can see, he shaved his amazing beard, so he's got a new look, such as myself. Started talking about this feminist movement, and I'm like, all right, battle of the sexes. We're turning the camera on and we're doing this. So, Aaron, welcome back to the show. You have the floor. Let's talk about feminism and what a bunch of dipshits they are.
Well, it's a broad topic. No pun intended.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot to talk about there. It's a very new, nuanced, complicated topic that really takes a lot of consideration and a lot of really deep looking into, because, as human beings, I mean, we've had, it depends on your belief system, either we were dropped here like 6,000 years ago, or we've been here for hundreds of thousands of years. But if we've been here for hundreds of thousands of years, let's assume that.
Yeah, I would assume.
Because if you're into creationism, then you probably assume already that the man is the man and that the wife is, or the woman is the
caregiver.
You have a set perspective on things, and that's good.
Gender roles.
But if you're not, then let's dive into the concept of, okay, so we've had hundreds of thousands of years of survival and instinct development based on survival. And in general terms, we all know that men are more capable of doing certain tasks and women are more capable at doing other tasks, right? Yeah. This has been a long, drawn-out determination of best suited capabilities, right? Yeah. We all know that. Men can't have babies as well as women.
Or
right?
at all, but
At all. So, like,
unless you're a trans woman, I guess, then you can.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've beat that.
But then if you have a 6'8" giant man with an iron broad sword coming at a 5-foot woman, the odds aren't really unless she's, David slinging rocks at him.
Yep.
But the odds are not in her favor. So anyway, all that to say that we know that in reality there are vast differences between the sexes via nature. That's the thing. A society has changed the entirety of human experience on this earth. It really has. We've rewritten the laws of nature in the spectrum of what, like a few thousand years, maybe a little bit longer, depending.
Since 1955.
Well, yeah. But I mean,
let's
go back to the time when civilization started, because civilization did help make things easier. People congregated, they built vast empires.
Yeah. Agriculture.
Now that changes a lot of things. Now you're not hunting in the woods. You're not in the mountains and the because then everything is really simple.
Yeah.
If you can survive, I'm sticking with you, right? Like, you're not going to be like, I'm going off with somebody who can't survive because they have a piece of paper in their pocket, like dollars, monetary value. Didn't exist. You didn't have dollars 8,000 years ago that were going to save your life in the forest. It was, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy doesn't. Obviously, I'm going with him. And that's it, love be damned, unfortunately. But, since society has changed all that, we've rewritten the laws of nature as far as the human experience is concerned. And it took us hundreds of thousands of years, if you believe that, to get used to this situation. We figured it out based on trial and error over a very, very long time. Now, when you change everything within the scope of a number of thousands of years, and then especially in the last...
over a few decades.
Yeah, especially. That's a massive leap. So, and we all know that technologically we've changed in the last 100 years exponentially compared to the last...
100 prior years. It's absolutely
and even
insane.
More, yeah.
It's absolutely insane. Look how long we've come in only the last 10 or 15 years. It's
the world's changing at a rate that's unbearable to the nature of our being, because we are animals. We're the product of a lot of development and trial and error, like I said. And when you change things so rapidly, it's hard for some people. That's that whole caveman thing that they like to talk about, the fact that some men aren't capable of adapting as quickly. But the thing is like, yeah, of course they're not. I mean, why would you? Why would you ever be physically capable of changing something that took hundreds of thousands of years to create in 100 years?
Yeah.
That's unreasonable expectation.
Well, and we've gone full circle too, because we've gone from, oh, I'm a woman, I should be able to do all these things. Okay, yeah, great. But Denzel Washington said, women aren't here to do everything a man can.
Right.
They're here to do everything a man can't do.
Absolutely.
And it's just absolutely freaking crazy. Like, okay, sure, you can fight in a war zone. Doesn't mean you should. I don't understand how sending you to war is some gauge of social justice and you making progress in society. And girls are saying now, I shouldn't have gotten a degree. I should have just found a man. I should have been a housewife. I want to have kids. Now I'm 30, 35. I have no kids and I haven't checked this box. And we've gone absolutely way overboard. And this girl, I don't remember who the hell she was, but she's doing one of those stupid walk and talk videos that I absolutely hate.
Right.
But she's like, I encourage you to go make your own money, because what are you going to do? Just be broke as hell until you find a guy who hopefully does really well financially? No. Do well financially for yourself, and then you find a guy and you're more likely to find, if you make $80,000 a year, you're more likely to find a guy who does way better, because he doesn't see you as a liability. Like, oh, you know what it takes to make $1, so I'm not just dragging you along as dead weight when I tell you can't buy this bullshit or go and get a $5 coffee every day.
Right.
You understand why, like,
a person who's making a good income is willing to take more of a risk because you are less of a risk.
Yeah, and she said, hey, go make your own money, but then you can bail on it at, your late 20s and then have your family and be a stay-at-home wife and all that good shit.
Sure.
I lucked the hell out because my wife is a bomb-ass cook, and she takes very good care of the house, very good care of the kids.
She's a very good cook.
And I have got, I might go a little overboard at times, and I'm like, damn, it takes a lot of money to keep this house heated, but you're worth it because you're doing a very good job of taking care of things. We're making progress, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's amazing the full circle that we've gone. So you told me something months ago, but you said the man has to make more money than the woman. I will die on this hill. And you don't have to go into it if you don't want to, or you can if you want to.
I believe it to be true.
For the demise of your relationship or your ex-wife.
There's a lot hinging on that point, because even if you have the kind of wife who's willing to stick by you if you don't make as much or more than her, which is I think that's a lot to ask, because it's not necessarily the nature of the situation. But if you don't find that woman, then you're doomed, because it's they're naturally drawn to men who are masculine providers. It's the nature. You can't deny your nature. You can't shave your head and say I never had hair.
Yeah.
It existed. It's a real thing. And it developed over a long period of time. You have no control over that.
Yeah.
Just because you shave it doesn't mean anything. So, to deny
Says
your
the guy
nature.
with amazing hair. You see that hair? Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. My mom's like, oh, guys shouldn't have long hair. It's feminine, because I'd play with my mullet. My mom despises it. But
that's another
you
thing.
can't find a more fucking alpha dude than yourself. You build houses, and you can find him out more alpha fucker than yourself, which
I appreciate that.
Crazy, but like,
well, I've always
hair.
thought that it was weirder to shave your hair off than it is to leave it, because isn't that sort of a crazy thing to do? What would you do if you saw a dog shaving its hair off?
Yeah, you'd be like,
what the fuck's going on here?
You've seen animals with their hair shaved off. A bear, a monkey, they look weird.
Well,
but
and
they
that's the
also
thing.
shed. Their hair,
They shed.
Their hair gets to
As
say
do
this.
we. Our hair comes off in the shower, whatever.
But like a monkey, say their hair gets to right here and it stays there.
If you found a monkey in nature shaving something off with a rock and just doing that, you'd be like, what's going on with this thing? So I've always thought it, and it's fine, because I understand that, we wear suits and ties and things, that none of that existed in nature. I mean, like, there's society implements things that don't exist within nature. So that's fine. But I've met men in my life, and this is just a personal internal thought thing.
Yeah.
I don't, burden anybody with it, but I've met men in my life who have never had short hair, never had a beard to speak of whatsoever.
Could they not grow one, or just shaved all the time?
They just shaved all the time. And
okay.
I was like, how well can you know yourself?
Yeah.
Like, do you even know what color your beard is? Because how sometimes you have dark
Mine
hair
comes
and
in red. Yeah, yours does too. You're very red. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can have blonde hair and a brown beard. I mean, sometimes you can have brown hair and a blonde beard. Do you even know yourself if you've never seen yourself as a natural
it made
being?
me realize where my temper came from, because redheads often have hot tempers.
Right. Yeah.
And my red beard showed up when I was in high school. Just barely getting the peach fuzz. I was like, oh shit, and my mom was like, oh, I like it. You got the red in there, and my beard comes in very, very red, and it's very Viking, and so does yours.
Have you noticed women
beard.
typically like red hair sometimes?
Yeah.
What is that? I've always wondered that, because I've met a lot of women who said they always wanted a redheaded child, a redheaded grandchild.
My buddy's wife was
they like red hair on a guy.
My buddy's wife was like, oh, I hate red hair on a kid. Guess what? They're both blonde hair, blue-eyed, vibrant, orange, red-headed ass son. I'm like, yes.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a sweet little kid.
Shot
He's
yourself in the foot
adventurous,
there.
and very different than the daughter that he had. And we had kids 6 months apart or whatever. We've been friends for 30 years since kindergarten. But
nice. That's cool.
But she's like, oh my God, no, I would have a redheaded kid. I'm like, oh, come on. He's not going to be a typical redheaded featured dude. But
but that goes back to like women, they want certain things all the time.
Hang on 1 second.
Don't realize they want, because it all just kind of happens,
Yeah. Well, Pearl Davis, who I've talked about a few times. Hang on, make sure this thing turned on.
Sure.
Yeah, we're good. She was like, all you girls are going after the top 1% dude, and no girl seems to want to help build a dude. Again, back to Olivia, like, hey, I need shore support. I need your help with your computer stuff. I need your help to make this money. She's like, okay, cool. And we differ in how to do things, but she's still there to be helpful. And it's like, I need this. And she's like, well, I'm going to have to do all the paperwork. I'm like, well, I can't do it myself. I can't work a 40-hour week and build all this shit and do all this. I need your help. I need somebody with your skill set. So we really complement each other in this in this topic.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. Another
it's
place I
it's
super
nice when
lucked
you have
out.
that.
Yeah, exactly. But all these girls going for this top 1% dude, and girls are just like, oh, I just want a guy that makes all this money. Back when I lived in Grand Junction, I worked in the oil field, and girls were just like, oh, you have a good job. And it's like, that shouldn't be the only reason you're going for me. Don't laugh at my amazing, hilarious jokes because you want to trick me. And I saw right through them. And like well, not in a name drop, but girl we were talking about earlier was just like, well, why are you so hard on chicks? I'm like, because I can see through you. I can see that you're not, I mean, you're not genuine. You're not here for me. You just see me as a meal ticket. And it's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Like,
if you meet a genuine woman, and I'm sure this is true for women as well, if you meet a genuine man, well, first of all, I think that people tend to not trust genuine people at first because they assume that genuineness is
I get taken
a
advantage
rarity.
of.
Well, it's like,
Olivia's told me, like, you're too nice. Like, people take advantage of you. It's like, well, people were not nice to me in high school. People still aren't nice to me a lot even after high school. It's part of the problem I washed out of Buds is because I wasn't fucking popular.
Right.
And I barely said a word. Like, what the hell? What adult treats somebody like this? Like,
it's funny to me how a lot of people have. So a lot of the people that I experienced through my life in high school and early adulthood and even further back, a lot of them I thought seemed to have it kind of going on socially. Like they all seem to be
Mr. Popular.
Yeah, and like the things you perceived as being popular, or the things you perceived as being desirable in a person, like height, weight, look, personality type, things like that you assumed were the type of person who would be appreciated and celebrated and all these other things. A lot of them later in life opened up via Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and a lot of them express the same kind of feelings that, say, I or you or the other person would have, that you're like, wait a minute, why would you feel that way? Because you were in my mind the ideal person to not feel that way.
You fit in.
But then they did, and it's like, it just goes, it's a funny thing, because when we're young, everybody just wants to feel like they're part of something, and in a way that's
said that in his stand-up. Everybody wants to be on a team. That's why this woke bullshit got so much momentum, because they got all these people who didn't really fit in, said all of society needs to change for me.
Yeah, well, and that's I've been saying that for a long time.
Stupid.
Yeah, as a country, we love to be a part of a team. That's why, and I've always been this person, and Rachel's the same way. It's one of the things we clicked on initially was, so for example, I've worn certain styles or done certain things, and then it becomes mainstream, and then everybody's doing it, so I abandon it because I don't want to be a part of this world that seems so fake. And I'm not perfect, I fall into certain criteria of a guy.
Yes, you are. You're
you
awesome.
would seem. Well, you know what I mean, though. It's like, it's easy to not be 100% original all the time. You're gonna eventually fall into a cliche or a thing.
You're gonna have to work with somebody that you have to be cordial with, and it's not being fake. It's being an adult and like, well, we don't really get along. There's certain things we're not going to talk about.
There is that, yeah.
But we're gonna just kind of get along, and we're not going to talk about certain
fall
things.
into the fold a little bit.
And that's totally fine. Being fake is like staring too far into the skid and overcompensating for it, complimenting to them too much, buttering them up, and
that's why I
trying
hate
to
hipsters.
impress them too much. And it's like, Anomaly is a self-proclaimed hipster, and he's like the sweetest fucking guy.
I'm sure he is.
Great voice, just very like, I don't see, if you got a problem with him, there's got to be something wrong with you. He was I'd
have to meet him first. A lot of hipsters I've ever met were kind of full of shit.
Well, he was a climate change activist, and then when he looked into it, he realized it was bullshit. He completely changed his own mind by actually looking into it, and has become a huge anti-climate change activist.
I would say that's like anti-hipster in a way, then, because to me, a hipster is like the cookie cutter, like, oh, I got to fit into this position so I can be in the cookie.
So maybe he represented himself there, maybe, but Anomaly, love your show. I haven't watched it a lot lately.
Maybe
but
you've got a style.
I'll send you some links, but the long hair, the beard, kind of like yourself. I mean, you would, if somebody didn't know you, they could maybe throw you in that category. So when I first met you, I was just like, you have that all right, shaka bro, like surfer laid back attitude, and I was like, oh, fuck these commie cocksuckers, and you were like, oh yeah, fuck them. I was like, yes. That's funny. Good, okay, cool. Like, did a vibe check, and I was like, okay, cool. Then we started talking more, and now shit, here we are.
Right.
All this good stuff. But,
I dig that. Yeah.
But but he drinks Starbucks every day, and he's not.
I like Starbucks. I don't drink it every day.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I can't remember where the hell he is on corporations and shit. But we were going to segue into this, and that actually worked out well.
Yes.
The CEO assassination.
Isn't that crazy?
Let me throw out a real quick 30-second thing here. So when CEOs, elitist politicians become above the law, and I got to phrase this very carefully so this episode doesn't get pulled like my other one did.
It's a difficult thing.
Well, I literally said I'm not calling for violence. I'm saying I think there will be violence, and my monetization and all that got blocked.
Right.
As of right now, I'm blocked. But when you become above the law, so there's laws that are there to punish you, but we have a counter law to protect you. You have your rights, your Fifth Amendment, your right to a fair trial, due process, cross-examination. You have all these things.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of fail-safes. Yeah.
You're above the law and it can't punish you, the laws that are there to protect you no longer do. So what choice do we have except for to do vigilante assassinations?
Absolutely. And this is the thing is, people like to ignore the fact that
he's getting serious. He leaned forward.
Yeah, none of this is new. Every empire in the United States is an empire. Make no mistake. It is it's simply a passing empire. We're not going to last forever. And if we do, we're just going to be a staple of a much larger beast that's going to eventually take over the earth, which I believe is probably going to happen, the one world government aspect.
Globalism.
Yeah. It's coming. Sorry. But the fact of the matter is that we're just another empire in the history of mankind. And every empire has had
250 years.
Well, give or take.
The longest ones have been 250 years, and we're at 257 or whatever we're at.
Yeah. So like, the thing is that they build and build and build, and they like to say the cream rises to the top, and I like to believe that. I think that people who work hard or have great ideas are eventually going to rise to the top, because that's a natural selection, as it were, just in the confines of a societal construct. So the rules are a little different, but it still applies. But the thing is that as you separate, this happened in Rome. I mean, it's as you separate the wealthy from the unwealthy, and the wealthy become a little too arrogant, and a little too untouchable. Now the thing is what else is there to do besides eventually take things into your own hands? Now I don't condone this, and I don't think
I don't either. I'm not condoning assassinating people.
No, of course not.
When it does happen, maybe people might go, oh, wait a minute. They might, like that judge that got attacked, but the dude like jumped over the top. I'm not condoning violence against them, but maybe they realize, but that dude was completely wrong.
But you don't have a magic wall around you, and that's the thing is people.
Well, they do. They have security.
Well, security is only as good as it
can
be.
They're not John Wick.
No,
they're
not perfect.
They're the sunglass and
but
buff
that's
t-shirt
why they're going to roll out drones. They're going to roll out machines. They're going to roll out higher security. I'm telling you, rich people, if they get nervous, they're going to invest in security, and security is going to go up exponentially, especially in a technological world where you have, cell phones. Like my cell phone, earlier today, I accidentally copied and pasted to a comment thing, and it pulled up everything that my TV had been saying for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, they're listening.
Oh, they're listening all the time.
Right now.
So, the fact of the matter is that, they're going to make no mistake. CEOs are going to abuse technological ability. They're going to tap everybody's situation. They're going to, they have magic walls, but they haven't implemented them as much yet as they're going to.
Yeah.
Which they will.
Well, and I've told people that are private security, like, dude, walk away. You ain't paid enough, because they're going to shoot through you.
Right. Unless your family's taking care. I can understand if somebody said, hey, tomorrow if you take a bullet for me, your family will never want for anything. They'll go to the best schools. They'll have everything they've ever wanted. I can understand
them for a second.
Well, but I can understand why somebody would, right? I'm not saying that I would actively do it, but I am saying that if I place my mind into that person's perspective, and especially if they feel like they, that they might not have a lot to offer otherwise, or they feel like this is the end all be all.
Better dead than alive anyway.
Yeah.
So
because some people think that money is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's helpful, obviously, but if
we're out here working every day.
Yeah, you have to have money to survive in this environment, unless you don't want to be a part of this environment. But if you're not happy without money, you're not going to be happy with money. Period. But if you are happy without money, you're going to be very happy with money.
Yeah,
and that's the way it is.
You got to look at the little wins. Don't live for the weekends. I come home, I try to do a little project in the shop, so I make a little bit of weekly progress. Just be living for the weekends. That's not good either.
Yeah.
Like
you have to live the idea. If you're an outdoorsy person, live
for a hike
every day after work. Keep your fishing pole in the back of the truck. Keep your snowshoes in the back of the truck, whatever you got, and then go and live that. Get the team of guys together and go snow machining, stuff like that. Don't live for to happen someday.
Yeah.
Embody it.
You got to take the little wins.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't think I talked about it. I was going to, but you need to oh crap, I totally lost my thought.
The little wins.
Yep, take the little wins. Oh, damn it, lost my thought on that.
Well, you have to embody.
Oh yeah,
You have to embody everything
everybody
you do.
thinks like, oh, all I need is that 10 grand. All I need is that 20 grand.
Right,
Well,
and that's going to solve all the problems.
And
Yeah.
here's where I was going
It's
with
going to
this.
change your whole life.
So part of the problem, and I did talk about this in another episode, you can't. Part of the problem with our healthcare system, not changing subjects here, it's like, well, I have to keep my job because I need my healthcare. I have to keep my job because I need my 401k. No,
Right.
get fucked, dude. You need to start a Roth IRA, and if they're going to do a 3% match like a 401k does, it needs to go into your Roth IRA through Vanguard. I'll get to this in another episode. T. Rowe Price, Dodge and Cox, those are my 3 investment accounts. And it just follows you everywhere you go. You don't, it's like, oh, you're not fully vested if you don't do 10 years, then we take our 3% back out of it or whatever. It's like, well, no, I need my own account that follows me everywhere. I need a health insurance plan that follows me to every job. I can't, like, oh, I can't quit my job because I need health coverage. That's criminal, because now you're locked into a job that you hate.
Right.
And that's absolutely poisonous.
It is.
I mean, I'm on my like 10th career right now, but I didn't have kids. I only had myself to worry about. Fortunately, I've had very good health.
Yeah, thank God.
I mean, other than, a few accidents here and there, corporations are leveraging you to have to stay there, and that's absolutely
Indentured
toxic.
servitude.
And it's bad for the corporation too. Not that I give a fuck about their shareholders and everything. And again, I buy stock in a company, and say I buy it for 10 cents a share. I buy $100,000 or $10,000 worth of stock. So I got, what is that, $1 million or 1 million shares, let's say. Okay, great. I should be compensated. I should make money off of my investment. But the shit hits $900 a share, and I've made $500 million off of it. Like, well, I mean, at what point too much is not going to the employee? And I mean, the employees aren't getting benefited enough because they have an obligation to their shareholders, which is fine, but there's a balance here.
There's a balance.
And it's gone way too much. The Nancy Pelosi's who are insider trading,
They've been mistreating the employee and the civilian for a very long time.
I'm going to say about 40-ish years is when this got to be if I had to throw a number on it.
Well, because if you think about it, the 70s, they had the unions. I mean, they had the Teamsters. So it was already a problem at that point, and they were dealing with it.
But they overcompensated because the unions have choked out the auto industry. A guy that sweeps the floors is making $100,000 a year.
Yeah,
and now a brand new truck is now $90,000.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's
a balance, and that's true. You have to play this game very well. And if you think that you're on the team simply to benefit yourself, then the game's not going to last very long, and then you're going to be out of a situation. And that's where the CEOs are starting to maybe, and God, I hope they realize it, because it'd be a shame to be so arrogant that you don't see the forest through the trees. I mean,
what a toxic environment it's created. It's like, well, you got a bunch of employees that are just staying here because they have to, they can't lose their health coverage.
But they despise you.
Yeah, and that's the
thing is they're trying to replace them, like get rid of them, get machines, right?
Yeah.
I just saw a video of Amazon, their warehouses. They have all these little robots running around, moving packages from place to place and all these things. I think it was they incorporated 750,000 robots, machines. What do you want to call it, a robot? If you think an Android is a robot, or if you want to consider this little record player a robot because it has a functional motor, there are a broad spectrum of what you consider to be a technologically advanced robot. But the fact of the matter is that they are employing machines. They're no longer interested in human beings. They don't want to deal with your sickness, with your desires, your need for vacation, your need for your family. They don't want to deal with your expectations for financial growth, climbing the ladder. They don't care. They don't want you to have those things. You're a burden.
Somebody has to fix those robots, though.
You're a burden.
At some point,
Sure.
somebody's got to fix your truck.
Let's say we have a team of 30 guys operating and gals. whatever, operating these machines and fixing them, as opposed to 750,000 employees.
Yep.
Okay.
Get
so
a good
what
degree.
What do you do? Like, what are you going to do?
Yep, it's supply and demand. That's why the housing market has exploded, because we can't build shit fast enough. The
Right.
cost of building stuff is out of control.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
BlackRock bought up a bunch of real estate apparently, and
Right.
they have them as rentals, so you can't own property ever.
And this is the problem, is that they're going to treat humanity as such a minor issue. Like, it doesn't matter. Those people don't matter. This is where we're going in the future, is automation, and we're, who cares about them? We'll deal with them.
Machines have been building cars for 40 years.
Right.
On an assembly line. Okay, that's fine. That's not something a human being can do. You can't put a guy.
It's very difficult.
Weld. You can't have a human being doing that.
You can, but
it sucks.
It sucks, but it's I mean, like, the guy who did that for 30 years, who's now out on his butt, like, I mean, what do you tell him? Like, it sucked, right?
Here's a plaque.
Like, well, the money didn't suck.
Yeah.
Paying my bills didn't suck. So it's like,
But now I'm leaving with nothing. Like,
well, at the end of the day, so the concept of 30 guys, or even 100, or even 300 guys versus 750,000.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so now you've just left yourself hundreds of thousands of people who might hold a grudge. Right? If I go piss off
the guy at the gas
650,000 people, and
somebody's
one of them is crazy enough to come after me, like, or 2 or 5 or 100 or 1,000 or 3,000 or 100,000, like, I mean, that's where it starts to become a thing. Like, what do? You have to watch your back every day just so you can keeping that money coming in. And it's like, is that worth it?
Yeah.
But like I said, it's a game, and it's a very difficult game to play.
It's a tough balance to reach. Somebody said, like, I want to say like Dollar General or something. They were just like, okay, if we took all of the CEO's money, we could give every employee another like $300 a year. So that's not the problem.
Yeah.
But we can't just raise prices to pay people more. And, I know people like, oh, you don't like Walmart? Well, shop at Vons then. Well, I can't afford that because a bottle of ranch dressing is $15. Like, okay, so you shop where it's cheaper. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Well, they pay their employees $15 an hour. Well, I can't afford to shop there. It's like, well, just like here, we got to run to Kenai for our big grocery runs, because it literally is half.
Oh, it'll save you hundreds of dollars.
It's literally half. But I'm fortunately in the position where I can literally make a weekly run to Kenai.
Sure.
I hate doing it, but I literally can.
I'm going to make mine on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to make a plan.
Well, you were always up there anyway to get your kids before, but like, I always hit you up like, oh, hey, could you pick some shit up for me?
Yeah.
But we're at the end of the road. We're in a little bit different situation. But I mean, God, I go to the store and I look at a can of corned beef hash and it's $5. That's barely above dog food grade food. Like, well, I mean, I can't afford to shop here.
I saw a pack of turkey for $8.
Yeah. I mean,
a little pack of turkey like this big for $8. Cold cuts.
Well, it save you more. They use local God, what's the
butchers and
butcher
meat processing, meat canyon. That's McNeil. A cartoon thing. McNeil.
Yeah, McNeil. They've got good stuff, but it's locally sourced and it's all that good stuff. But it costs.
Oh, I love McNeil Canyon. Yeah, that's a great. It's if you can afford to enjoy McNeil Canyon meat, that's a luxury.
Yeah, I definitely do. But like I can't afford it, and
can't do it all the time.
I mean, yes, maybe I can pay for it, but now I'm not putting money in the bank. I have no money for my hobbies. You know how much of a hobbyist I am. I have to have my hobbies. I have to have my tinkering and my cars. I gotta have. I gotta
for sanity.
have that stuff.
Absolutely,
that's a man thing. And back to the whole, our initial topic. Men need chores. Men need their hobbies.
Yeah.
Girls don't, something a buddy of mine said at work, he was like, girls don't generally do labor jobs as a hobby. Olivia, she does crafts, she makes the kids clothes, and that's all fantastic.
She's really good at that
in the house.
Yeah.
I
She's very
need
good
a
at that.
shop, or I don't have to have it, but working outside in the ground sucks, which I have to do on my deuce and a half because it's too big to fit in my shop.
Yeah.
Barely.
Right.
I had a nice big ass shop out there. It's pretty freaking sweet. I was telling Aaron here, I was like, oh, I'm jealous of my other buddy's shop. He's like, dude, fuck you. I'd love to have your
Yeah.
shop. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's still at your disposal though. I mean, your truck's sitting there right now and we were
Sure.
tinkering with, troubleshooting something, but, that's just because, you have a really good friendship like that,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. But,
That is fantastic. Yeah.
But yeah, you can't always just look at the other guy and like, oh, well, look how great this is for him because I haven't always had this. And, it's kind of the natural order of how the cookie crumbles. And
If
you got to
you
do things one thing at a
constantly
time.
weigh yourself against someone else's success, you're never going to be happy. You just have to identify where you are
People
in life.
get lucky.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there's always going to be somebody with more than you. I mean, Donald Trump probably envies somebody, I mean.
Probably not. He's been the
You
president twice now, but yeah.
I know I know that we would think that, but I mean, that is the nature of man, is to constantly envy what you don't have.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't have something, he very likely would be envious of that thing.
Yeah.
And money can buy a lot, but it can't buy everything. So it's like, and who knows what is happening in his own head in his personal life with his family and his friends and everything, he
He's got a
may.
great family. The kids are all shit hot. They're not drug addicts like Biden's kid, and
Sure, but
he didn't give them an 11-year pardon, a whole decade.
I'm sure he's
blanket
proud of his
pardon.
children.
Get
Yeah.
the hell out of here.
We generally, unfortunately, not everyone, but I think that a lot of people are typically proud of their children and love their children.
Yeah, good.
But he may look at somebody else and think, man, I wish I had done that in my life or something.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that the grass is always greener on the other side. We all look at something that somebody has. You can have a nice truck and look at the guy's truck who's a little bit nicer, and you'd be like, man,
Well, you should do that. You should always be trying to better yourself, always trying to do something better. Like, I started my construction business, trying to do the storage facility, all this stuff. I'll always be trying to gain something, but take it in strides. Like, you just don't expect to be a millionaire overnight. You got your invention that I assume you can't divulge what it was, some tool that you built, which is awesome.
Yeah.
He never told me about that, which is, he's a total dick for
It's
but,
still
I got my
it's still in the works.
I got my invention that I've got in the works, and who knows? I hope you get $10 million for it. I hope you get $10 million for mine, and then great. But
R&D and development is a big part of it, and people like to overlook that aspect. They like to think that if you have an idea, you can just sell the idea and be wealthy, and that's not the case. You have to. There's a lot more that goes into it, and R&D is a big part of it. But luckily, these days now, with technology advancing the way that it has, like we've talked about, I mean, you have 3D printing. And if you have skills like metallurgy and carpentry and things like that, it's a little bit easier to develop a product in the end, because you understand the workings, mechanical aspects. But it's a very involved situation. It's not something that somebody can just kind of like write something down and just think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to physically make it happen.
Yeah.
So
have to have a template or a prototype to some degree.
Absolutely. Well, and then you have to file paperwork. And if you go through the agencies are kind of a ripoff. If you look up the .gov website, it's a strenuous process, and it's a lot more consideration. You can't just like let somebody else handle it for an extravagant fee. But
aren't you like paying 10% through your thing? I'm paying 20% through mine. I went
I
through
haven't
Invent
committed
Help, and
to.
I've had a very good. I wish I'd have talked to them 2 years before I enlisted, and it would have been
No,
good
it
to
was
go.
a good catalyst. It launched me into my research and my consideration, because I went through the meetings, and I went through product development considerations, and then they talked about their fees and everything else, and I was like, well, I'm going to look into this myself and see what they're doing to earn their money, because I was curious. I'm like, what exactly are you guys doing to get such a high amount?
Broadcasting it to companies that might be interested in buying it, which
So to
would
speak,
be very good. I mean,
that's
not everybody
the big
has
one.
a YouTube channel with 360 subscribers like I do.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a big deal, right?
Well, there are engineering shops that they do YouTube videos, and then they'll show products.
Let's hold
they're
that thought
developing.
and let's go take a leak. So we're talking about
We're talking about.
Oh, wait. Okay, and we're back. Except Aaron needs a beer. So we were talking about. Oh, he took his microphone off. Cool.
Yep.
So we were talking about getting a patent for an invention, which, I mean, for the love of God, if you have some good idea, you know, like we talked about hobbies and everything, you know, make it a hobby and
Yeah.
try to progress it. I see all these new tools that are coming out, and
Oh, yeah.
Well-
tons and tons of
well-
new stuff. Yeah.
new tools have to be made because cars are such a pain in the ass to work on. We didn't make cars
Yeah.
more difficult to work on because we have tools available. We had to build new tools to be able to do this stuff.
It's a race between the consumer and
The mechanic and the
manufacturer.
manufacturer. And
Yeah.
well, I saw they built the starter inside the bell housing of a truck
Mm-hmm.
or of a car or whatever. Why? Now you got to pull the transmission. Now we got $1,000 in labor. That's absolutely freaking absurd. Why would you
Yeah.
do that? And people think it's
Whoever engineered that needs to
Well-
be fucking slapped.
well, people think it's a conspiracy between the auto manufacturers and the mechanics. Like, yeah, they have to warranty this shit. They have to pay the dealer. The manufacturer has to pay the dealer to warranty this stuff. They should keep it as simple as possible.
Right.
And when it comes to Joe Consumer, and that's planned obsolescence. So the people at Edison Motors, I've given them a couple of shouts out, and they're awesome. I've been following them with great interest. I've talked about building the generator into the truck and all that, and that's going to be another episode. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I haven't done an episode in like almost a month now. I just too busy. I got
Yeah.
too
I've
much
noticed
shit
that
to do.
too.
But you have a 15-year-old vehicle, and that's my problem with battery-powered shit. Now it costs 20 grand to replace a battery.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't I just give the car away and just put that 20 grand into something brand new? It's planned
Right.
obsolescence, and
Yeah.
it's unacceptable. And Edison
Yeah.
Motors is on a crusade against that. Like, no, we're going to find you a company that can source you parts, whether Caterpillar. They started with Caterpillar, and he Chase did a video about Scania. My notes are right here. Scania, I guess. It's a company somewhere, and they've got good parts, and they managed to make
Where are they out of?
emissions. I can't say because I don't remember. I want to say it's I don't want to say anything because I'll be wrong.
Sure. Fair
But
enough.
he said they made a mechanical engine that meets emissions without the DPF, and I did a
Really?
big show on that. My first one had 6,000 views. My follow-up only has like 500 views. I'm like, well, what the hell, dude?
Yeah. What's
I did
up with
a big follow-up on it.
because it's a very intriguing
Yeah.
concept because
Well,
the DEF systems and all that stuff, the emission systems
it's an
aren't
absolute freaking
very-
joke, and it's costing Joe taxpayer, but they don't require them in other countries. So why does the American consumer have to foot the bill when we just export our carbon footprint? We don't have a low carbon footprint. We export it to China.
Yeah, we sell our carbon. Yeah, isn't that funny? They did back in the
Not really.
early 2000s. Well, it's not
Yeah,
funny,
no, I
but
know
it is.
what you
It's a funny,
No, it's not
Goofy.
funny, Aaron. That's not fucking funny.
funny goofy. But yeah, they what is that called? Carbon offsets
Yeah.
is what it is. Yeah, they love love to pay somebody else to take the brunt of their nonsense.
Well, and
it's-
we're footing the bill for it. It's destroying our
China's-
It's destroying our cars. Like your
China
truck's
is
not
what we
deleted, right?
were-
Do you
Say
take
what?
DEF in that?
yeah.
Well,
Unfortunately,
we're going to delete that shit.
I'd love to.
Next fucking weekend. It's going to cost you.
Don't
It's
tell
going to cost you.
anybody.
No, fuck them. I don't
Don't
have a
tell
fucking,
anybody.
I don't have a fucking like. I don't have a. I'm not ASE certified.
But no, I would love to delete that.
No,
thing
we'll
because
delete
it would
that
be,
shit.
It would be great.
It's going
Because
to
it's
cost
also
you. I
it's
can't
bad
do it.
for your engine.
Yeah, I can't.
It's
I can't
terrible
do that.
for your
I can't
engine.
do that for free. But I'll
Well, sure,
I'll
yeah,
look
but
into it and we'll
I'd
delete that
be
shit.
willing to talk about it for sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
So-
I'd like to
Well,
develop.
people are like, "Oh, you're admitting to a federal crime. Come at me, bitch. See how long that fucking
prove
works
it.
for you. My
Prove it.
broke ass, you're gonna come after me.
You don't know what we're gonna
fucking think
do
so.
after this video. We
Yeah,
might just
no, it's already in the shop. We
might
as,
do nothing.
We might as well just fucking do it. We'll work till 4
if
in the
there
morning.
even is a truck. You know,
Yeah. well, somebody told me government vehicles don't have that shit on.
they
there.
don't. They don't.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
No, you can go
Rules
to
for
a
thee,
government-
not for me.
Yeah, no, exactly. You can go to a government
Auction
site, and you can buy F-250, F-350, whatever, any of these vehicles that should have those, and they don't. But granted, they tell you upon purchase that you're supposed to have it equipped with it to legally drive it on the street.
Go fuck yourself.
Nobody ever
okay,
does.
okay, fine. Tow
Nobody
my
ever
truck. What the fuck ever, dude.
No.
No
They
trooper
never
here in
follow up.
Alaska is gonna fucking say shit.
No.
And that's the insane thing.
I don't even think they would know how to begin checking, would they?
Well, you pop the hood and you look and you can see it's gone. But that's
Yeah, but
that's
how
so
many of them ever do
profound-
that?
That's so profoundly fucking ridiculous to me. Oh, the state trooper's gonna pull you over in his diesel truck. You're like, oh, I don't have emissions. Pop your hood, dipshit.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No.
Yeah,
Let's pop your hood.
yeah,
See if
yeah.
you have it, asshole.
Yeah,
Which the trooper's here. Awesome. I've got no fucking problem with them. I'm not just saying that because I'm on video now.
Generally speaking,
they're
they're
pretty
cool.
fucking cool. They
Yeah.
just okay, you were going a little over, whatever. Just checking you out.
And that is true. I've only met one who was a little loose, but otherwise, I think that the police officers, troopers, whatever, in this particular area are pretty stand up.
Yeah, no, I
stand up.
don't really got a problem with them. I mean,
I used to, so like once upon a time, I helped rewire for the audio system for the school in Homer.
yeah.
And
In the theatre.
no, it was at the Peanuts, the elementary school. They had their
Okay.
they had an audio video setup in the gym,
Yeah.
and they were upgrading to JBL,
Okay,
pretty high end stuff.
Yeah.
And with my background in audio, I volunteered my time and I went. And one of the guys that was helping was one of the troopers,
Since
and
you
we
play 10 instruments.
well, yeah, but we it was purely, set up for, general audio, like announcements and
Yeah.
stuff. But it was really a good setup, but lots of money, like $10,000 or so 8 years ago worth of audio equipment. But one of the guys who was also volunteering was a trooper, and he was actually a really nice guy, and we hit it off.
Yeah,
And
good.
I've kept up with him a little bit here and there over the years.
Yeah,
and
get out of those traffic tickets.
yeah. His wife was really nice. And yeah. So, I mean,
We're in a small town though. They're
Right.
not quite as on edge. Like a trooper's
No.
like, "Do you have any guns in the truck?" "No, sir, I don't."
Right,
I mean,
and if you
okay,
do
cool,
and you
yeah.
tell
yeah,
them,
it's right there
they're
in the glove
cool.
box, no problem.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
make
I
sure
have
not
a
to reach for-
firearm
yeah.
here. It's this kind. Here's
Yeah.
the magazine, etc.
But
And they're
again,
actually really
small
cool.
town, like everybody's carrying a gun or a hunting rifle or whatever, but it's
Well,
not going to pull a hunting rifle on you probably. So
Well, no, and one thing that people, yeah, exactly, that's true. One thing that people need to understand is that here in Alaska, the laws on firearms are a little different because of the fact that we have large game predatory animals.
yep, it's
that-
expected.
It's expected. Yeah, you could be. I mean, it's as loose as to say that a felon who would not be able to own a firearm in the lower 48 can own a rifle here
Yeah.
for self-protection.
Yeah.
Where down in the lower 48, that would be a sin
Yeah.
by far.
Well, I mean,
So-
you live in the middle of LA. I mean, you're not going to be shooting a freaking
No,
Jaguar.
you're not.
So.
Yeah, you're not going to have like a 38 or anything.
But yeah, I'm glad this
The old
came up.
Glocks.
So, like we talked about recreational outrage
Mm-hmm.
and people like provoking cops into confrontation.
Yeah.
What are you fucking doing, dude? You're not going to you're creating a problem to try and show there's a problem. Oh, I'm going to crack my window this far. Oh, what crime have I done? Am I being detained? Blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, like you were speeding. You are wrong. And if you'd have been cool, he probably would have let you off. I've been let off on almost every fucking
I've been
speeding
let off on all kinds of
ticket.
stuff.
Like
Rachel
okay,
always-
just checking you out. Like, okay, I've got nothing to do. Okay, you're going 5 over, which was weird. 'Cause the last time I was pulled over, I was doing like 6 over, which is
Yeah.
weird because I've never been pulled over for less than 11 over, and I've been let off every time except for
That is weird. Did they say anything else?
no.
Just
I
you
think
were
they were
going 6
looking.
over?
I think they were looking for somebody because I saw
Okay.
like 5 people pulled over on my way out of town.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, end of the month, don't they have quotas? And my buddy was like, no, they don't have quotas here, which they shouldn't. You shouldn't be.
Right. There should be no
Cops
quotas.
do not join to be ticket fairies and
Yeah.
to gain revenue. That's
Right.
they join to stop bad guys and everything
Ideally,
else. And
yeah.
you're putting these human beings in this position where you could be shot anytime. and it can. So they're on edge because
Over trying to get $200 or
is this guy
$50.
is this guy just provoking me into confrontation, or is this guy actually a threat? And now the line has been blurred so much because everybody's got their cell phone and they're like, oh, I just need to put on some drama and some bullshit for.
I think it is important to if you're being pulled over, I think it's important to. I think as you're pulling over and getting set up, I'd say activate your camera, put it on the dash, be done with it. Put your hands on the steering wheel, and then respect the officer's situation. Because he doesn't know, and that's the thing is like, there are bad cops and there are good cops. Some cops get into it and they get the ego trip and then they go crazy. But there are a lot of guys who just are doing their job and they're doing a high stake job.
Yeah.
And
you're speeding, you're wrong.
Yeah, or let's say they're responding to a domestic violence or
that is the number one killer of cops. So you're putting this cop into a position where it can get very volatile very quick, and booze is involved every time.
Booze is always involved.
They started. What state was it? Didn't they start sending social workers in instead of a police officer? And they had really good reviews because the armed cop shows up and it provokes the situation. That's not on the cop. He's like, well, he's trying to keep this chick from getting beaten to death, or a neighbor called or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I had buddies I was staying with in an apartment and there was thumping and all kinds of stuff. We banged on the door. Dude shows up at the door. Everything's cool. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. Everything's fine. We called the cops. Like, well, no, everything's not fine. Like, there's clearly somebody getting their ass kicked up here. I mean, just...
It's a tough thing, man.
Well, and here's the thing. And I was going to try to get a cop on my show right now to talk to him about it.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
I would love that. Well, that would be awesome.
Okay, so body cams, dash cams, your or my cell phone, security cameras. Cops are on video 24 hours a day.
Typically.
There's always something. So
typically, yeah.
Every minute right now, a cop is on video for, say, 1,000 hours. And what do they show you? The worst of the things. When something
that is true.
When something works out just fine, it doesn't go viral because it's there was no drama, no bullshit,
Sex
no controversy.
And violence sells.
Yeah. And this lady who got pulled over was given a ticket because she was speeding like twice over in a school zone. And the cop was like, oh, hey, well, you need to slow down. Here's a ticket. Oh, I was so afraid for my life, blah, blah, blah. Well, they released his body cam footage. How were you afraid for your life? He literally just, business as usual, here's a ticket. And you put out this drama and this bullshit that's immediately debunked. And it's absolutely freaking insane. And then there's, I did a video on this too. Sonia Macy, who was killed by a cop. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And he's like, oh, I thought you were going to throw that pot of water at me. She was literally curled up in a ball saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And you just gunned her down. Dude,
she obviously
get the fuck out of here.
She had abnormal personal expressions. She seemed to be a little erratic, but Aaron, he jumped to a conclusion.
They didn't show you the whole fucking video. Show me the whole video from A to Z. Don't just show me the... she was weird.
Well, because you could easily... You could edit this video and take everything I say and manipulate it into something else.
Yeah.
Very easily. Yeah. Because there's a lot of words we've exchanged.
Well, it depends on if the media wants to demonize or support cops, and you're being lied to. And that's what's insane to me. Show me the whole... God, what was the I Can't Breathe guy?
I know what his name is.
Brown something.
Hold on. I know what it is. It's
You might need to look that up real quick.
Yeah.
I don't have a guy over there that can look these things up.
No, we don't have that yet.
We don't have a Jamie like
That's why
like
you
Joe
guys
Rogan
need
does.
to watch and like and subscribe and help develop this
all
product.
those things.
Because eventually, if you do that, then there could be a set.
Olivia, look that up.
Yeah. We could actually develop that.
So anyway, but they only showed you part of the video and it just enraged people. But like, okay, was the cop wrong? Yes, but I don't really feel like he choked him to death. And wasn't he high on drugs? And
he was.
Candace Owens, 3 years later, finally got her hands on the rest of George Floyd.
Yeah.
Candace Owens got her hands on the rest of the video 3 years later. 3 years.
Yeah.
The January 6th footage.
Oh, yeah.
Tucker Carlson, there 80,000 hours of footage from all these cameras.
God bless that guy, too.
Yeah, 80,000 hours or whatever it was of footage, and it took us years to get it. Like, dude, why are you showing me these clips that are so one-sided? Show me the whole goddamn footage.
Yeah. Give me the information. Don't just highlight the parts that extend your narrative.
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
fucking insane to me.
well, it's a slippery slope. It's like once you start.
Not really. They've been doing it for the last 15 years.
Oh,
with
they've been
social
doing it
media
for all
that
the
we've
time.
been catching them doing it.
Yeah,
and people
it's been
still,
happening for all of
yeah,
time.
and people. Well, it's
If you
a
go
lot
back
worse.
to the newspaper, there was always.
Well,
that
yeah,
too.
but it's worse now because there's so much footage. But you got technology, we got video cameras everywhere, we got phones, and
right, and that's what I mean.
yeah.
It's like it's a slippery slope. I mean,
Yeah.
when you isolate information to derive
Sorry, I
your
didn't
narrative.
mean to yell at you there.
No. You're right though. You're right, because the thing is that you have to. Okay, I mean, and this is the weird part: is reporting or authentic quality reporting should be a divulgence of all of the information, and then you're not a social warrior who's trying to implement ideas. What you're doing is you're providing uninterrupted information to the people so that they can develop their own perspectives.
See, that's that smart shit that I have you on my show for.
Well, but it's true. It's the
Yeah,
fact of
you're
the matter.
completely right.
You know, that's what I like about the Tucker Carlson is that he, he was even faced with scrutiny over racism. Which I'm sorry, but
You're devaluing
It's the
actual
easiest-
racism. Like, it's
yeah,
just the
well, you're
catch-all.
devaluing it, and it's
the
the
catch-all.
easiest thing to do. Like if I want to discredit anybody, if somebody says that the sky is green and I'm like it's blue, and they're like no, it's green, and I'm like you're a racist. Then
No, you're right now,
oh, I'm right now.
I guess.
Like get out of here, dude. Like we're all human beings. Racism is, we've built a lot of space between us now and what racism used to be back in the day. You have to eventually allow it to go.
Yeah.
You can't hold it forever in your heart and expect it to not be a severe thing. And and the thing is that even though that petty, useless tool was used against him, he actually said, "Hey, you know what? Like, I'm just going to keep on being me," and now he's risen above that. Like Fox tried to like just completely discredit him, and instead he's risen far above them. Like I would say he's actually doing better than Fox is doing right now.
People left Fox News because of Tucker Carlson.
Because of all of that.
Well, he interviewed Vladimir Putin. People are like, oh, Tucker Carlson's a liar. Watch the interview and hear it right out of Putin's mouth. I don't speak Russian, but I'm assuming that the translator is being honest.
Assuming so. Yeah, I would believe. I would generally believe that.
Or the leader of North Korea, whatever the fuck his name is. But I mean, come on, man. Like, I mean, I watch interviews or videos right from the Senate, and I hear it right out of their mouths, and hear Ted Cruz ask somebody, is Riley Gaines right? Is she wrong in saying that there's a difference between men and women? Well, you see, the thing is, and they just start talking, and it's like, answer the question, dude, come on. And Joe Rogan even said, I listened to the interview with Joe Rogan and Riley Gaines, which I did, my pilot episode of my show was about Riley Gaines. And I invited her to my show, and she never responded. No offense taken. If I could go on Joe Rogan's show or my show, I'd go on Joe Rogan's show too. So no offense taken. Yeah. But and Joe Rogan was like, yeah, if I was going to destroy a nation, this is how I would do it. Just create this ridiculous divide and all this shit. And she was just like, why the hell am I getting screwed over? And then the feminists still, back to our main topic, the feminists support it. Oh, if a man says he's a woman, he should get into our locker rooms.
That is...
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
My sons will not go
curious.
into women's locker rooms, and my sons will not wrestle a woman or a girl, in high school, theoretically. They will not fucking do it. I fucking forbid it.
I mean, it's a funny thing because, at the end of the day is, I don't know. It's such a strange thing. But no, the idea that feminists would support the movement is mind-boggling, because how can you think that femininity is strong, powerful, and capable of being a self-proclaiming, standing organization, of being blah, 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 all this stuff, but then also give credence to the concept that men can just become women and own it?
Well, we talked about people
Like,
want
what
to
is
be on a
that?
team. Don't they want strong, physically capable? Well, they're not. They're wusses.
Yeah,
Want to
most
be
of
on
them
a
are.
team.
Yeah.
It's like, well, let's get these men on our team, and now we're stronger or something.
I
Yeah,
don't get. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know where they're going with this, and they don't even know. I mean,
I
you
don't think
ask
they
them
know.
about it, and
I don't
they
think they know.
don't. They're just,
I think oftentimes it's like a short term, like I'm only going for what's 1 foot in front of me,
Yeah.
as opposed to 3 miles kind of thing.
yeah,
I think that they don't know what they're doing long term, but they feel empowered in the moment.
Yeah.
It's like a drug. It's like,
Yeah.
I've just taken this shot of whatever it is, and I feel really good right now. Next month be damned.
yeah.
I don't care how I feel then, because then I'll just try to shoot myself up with something new that makes me feel really good.
Virtue signaling is
Yeah.
a good term for that. Like,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
professional victims. Like,
Right.
well, I'm a victim, so are they. So I don't. If I support their brand new thing, maybe they'll support my thing when my victim number comes up, and they won't, because they're all a bunch of
No.
self-righteous,
Yeah.
like self-serving. It's all about me, and that's just insane. That's just insane to me.
Yeah. Do you think that its face, Mulvaney thing? What is it?
Yeah, Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about
Do you think
him
that
too.
Dylan would like
Pull you out of a
stand
burning
up
car?
for? Yeah. Do you think that it would go out of its way for these women who are backing him?
No,
She kind of.
which is crazy to me, because like
No, I
shit,
think
lost
that
the thought.
Dylan would probably, for lack of a better word, we'll just call him Dylan. I think that Dylan would probably sit in the confines of what money is bought and weather the storm and avoid all responsibility. Yeah, and that's really what it is. I don't think that, because, and that's the thing, is you have the back of these people who don't really care about you.
No woman acts as fruity as these dudes pretending to be women. Oh,
No.
look at me! Like, no, like, what are you, 12?
Right.
Like, how the hell?
Yeah.
And then Budweiser sponsored him. Oh, well, we didn't really sponsor him. Well, what did we do? We just gave him a can. No, you were testing to see if it would work, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And it crashed your stock.
You thought you might be capitalizing.
This is why we're drinking Coors Light right now, and I refuse to buy any product that's Budweiser. And yeah, piss on you.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
fuck
to,
me
you have
as
to
a
know
consumer.
what side of history you're on.
Yeah, and well, all these companies that did this woke bullshit crashed their stock, and I think I did an episode about this too. I was like, I think the CEO shorted the stock, which I don't know where that money comes from when you short a stock and buy stock based on it losing money,
Yeah.
but I think that's what they did. And they was like, oh, well, let's just crash our stock.
Right.
And I saw
there's something to be said about that. I wonder.
I saw a tweet from Elon Musk. I don't know if he actually did it. I'm not saying he did. I saw one. I don't know if it's corroborated or true, but he said shareholders are going to start suing because you are intentionally crashing stock. Well, sure as shit, I saw another freaking post. Again, don't know if it's true. The shareholders of Target, over their non-gender specific clothes, when they crashed their stock, the shareholders sued. I don't know if it actually happened or not, but I would like to think it did.
Yeah, there is something to be said about that, because when you're responsible for the well-being of a company, it's like a boxer throwing a fight, or I mean, Pete Rose back in the day, but not quite
guy with the hair?
same. No, Pete Rose was he was a Cincinnati Red, and he bet on a game, and you're not allowed to bet on a game if you're a player.
No.
And he got busted, and then he got kicked, and now he's no longer. He was one of the best baseball players like in history, and he's not allowed into the Baseball Hall of Fame because of this bet he made. But the problem is that it was a little different, because he bet on his team to win.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you bet on your team to win, you're assuming I'm going to work hard to win this, right?
Of course, yeah.
But they viewed that as a problem, so they now he's no longer. They won't even let him in. They will. They will. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame, but after he dies, they're not going to give him that while he's alive. Yeah, you should look it up.
I mean, if you bet on your own team to lose, I could see a discrepancy. Not on them on your team winning though.
Right, but they made an example of him.
Huh? Interesting.
Yeah, but it's the same thing, but opposite. Like if you were a CEO and you were to bet against the company and then tank the company,
Yeah.
and then make as much money as you can, and then walk away with all the money while the company flounders.
Yeah.
Like,
and your shareholders get screwed.
Yeah.
We just talked about shareholders. Like, yes, a shareholder should make money, but should I make $1 billion when your $7 an hour employees don't have health coverage? And I mean, come on,
well, and this is good. This comes back around to the concept of violence. Like, okay, so CEOs.
That's why people are snapping.
Yeah, you can't push people to the brink, which is what they've been. I've been saying this for a long time. When if you're going to push somebody, you have to back off.
Yeah.
Before you break them, and then you push hard after that. Then you back off before you break them. And that's what they should do. Is like if you're going to push the economy and push this country until the brink, then you need to back off and give them something. Like really let them give them 10 years.
Give them a win.
Yeah.
They're doing that on like a 1 year cycle.
Why is that so complicated? I mean, if I can think of it, then I'm sure they can. Why not push it and make a bunch of money, billions of dollars in all this progress and all this profit, and then just back off and give them 10 years of relaxation and let it settle, Don't boil the pot over.
Because they get greedy.
And that's why they're fucking dying.
Yeah, and that's one foot in front of the other thing. They're not looking far enough down the road. It's like, well, I can just walk away with all this money and
yeah, because nobody's going to touch me.
Yeah,
I'm special.
Yeah,
I'm unique. I'm inevitably going to win. But the fact of the matter is like, well, no, you might not.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's
don't break the system. I understand. I get
cultivate it.
Yeah,
if you become a billionaire and still cultivate it so where everybody does okay, because right now we're all broke. I make $100,000 a year, and I'm not piss broke, but like
you're making it. I'm making it, but we're not doing as good as we should.
Yeah, how's your 401k and your retirement stuff doing?
Yeah,
not worth a shit probably. Like
it's not looking good. My banking is that I'm going to invest in my own equipment to where I can have it running for me in the long. That's the thing.
We're going to build a storage facility here. I'm going to cut you in here at some point.
Well, you have to. You have to make a business that's going to make money and then pay you into your old age, because the idea of working for 20, 30, 40 years and then just sitting back and relaxing, boy, you'd have to live real cheap for that whole period of time. And then let's say you die. Oh my God. I'm retiring next year. Yeah, I finally made it.
Yeah.
And then now you're dead. And then you don't get any of it. You worked your whole life for nothing. And the kids will they'll get $5,000 maybe payout from the pension.
Yeah.
Like I think that's standard, is that you get $5,000 to $10,000. And if there's 5 kids or 4 kids or 3 kids, oh, okay, you got like
4 and 3 on your
end, $1,800 a piece.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That was worth 40 years of work.
I mean, if I have a pension, it should be tax-free. And that's the thing about a Roth IRA is it's tax-free once you withdraw it or whatever. But like, I mean, I'm a disabled veteran and I use the air quotes very loosely. Like, I don't pay property tax here because at first they were like, oh, you get $100,000 off once worth of value. The property's worth 120 or whatever. So I was only paying $300 a year, but a lady called, and which is weird that a lady from the office called and was like, no, you're actually tax-free because you're outside city limits. That wasn't the exact verbiage, but it was something like that. So I pay no property taxes.
That's nice.
Unless I start a commercial property, which is fine.
Yeah.
$1,500 a year, whatever. Okay, cool. That's fine.
Approximately.
But that's my situation. We're not all veterans. There's like, 8% of us or 3% of us that are veterans. Yeah. And the lady I'm putting the extra floor on in her house, she doesn't pay property tax because she's over 65. Okay, great. But like, God, we're just getting taxed to death. If we can send all this money, if we can send all this money to Ukraine, then we are being taxed too much. I mean, get the fuck out of here. I mean, yes, I can sympathize with Ukraine, but why should we be broke and struggling for these people? Motherfucker, get some guns and go fix your fucking problem. I don't know
and that's
what to
what
tell
it boils
you.
down to is like, well, it's hard because this day and age, our governments have all of our money.
Yeah.
They have all our money.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, we're taxed at 40% or something like that. You know, everywhere we turn, we're taxed. And they take that money and they develop high quality technology, I was going to say technology, but technological tools / weapons to use against us. And what they do is they ensure that we're incapable of fighting back. You know that.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? You and I are going to take up arms and go fight the U.S. government?
I mean,
Get out of here, dude. We lost that. We
can because they
No,
can't
we lost
use the
that.
military. Yeah, we can't.
They're going to come in with drones and they're going to laser us to death and then we're done. We lost that war a long time ago.
At least 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Let's
we
just say.
lost that war. It's no longer capable.
But
Only
I can
thing
shoot
we
the
can
guy
do,
running that drone.
we can make a fuss and annoy them enough that they will settle for giving us 10% of what we want.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And I hate to be that pessimist, but the fact of the matter is that what are you going to do if they cut off that phone right there and they cut off this computer and they cut off these things and they cut off everything? You know,
I mean, I personally would do fine. You personally would do fine. But it's all about us.
We would do fine,
Well,
but I'm saying, how would you fight them?
But you and I aren't only worried about ourselves. We're
Right.
worried about people that are a little bit more dependent on the grid.
Right.
But that's us. Because
Well, and that's
we're
what
not
I mean is
arrogant
those people would be dead. They'd be dead.
Yeah.
They wouldn't survive. Unfortunately.
But they can't do that because we're their drones. We're paying taxes and keeping them on life
We're
support.
the cattle.
Yeah, we're keeping them on life support.
Right.
So they can't do that.
They don't want to do that yet until they get the machines to do everything for them.
Well,
I foresee a future where machines will replace people.
So Terminator, you're a Terminator apocalypse
No, I don't
guy.
think that the machines will turn on humans entirely and
Matrix.
destroy them. I think I foresee a world where the average person and definitely the low level person, the person who's not producing anything whatsoever, but even the people who are producing things are null and void.
Yeah.
You know, it's like technology. When old technology becomes null and void, you decommission it. You no longer use it. You put it out to pasture, and you bring in the new quality and machines,
Which
whatever.
is us.
So we are going to eventually be unuseful. Now, what are you going to do? Are you gonna pay and provide for these unuseful people?
No.
No.
That's why they took over our healthcare. That's why they took over our products and poison our food and
Right. Well, the more that these machines become capable of doing everything we're doing, and the less they need us, well, they don't need to keep as many of us around because resources become more vast. You know, if you think about the fact that they can, let's say they produce 70,000 barrels of oil per day, and they have to distribute that between how many people are on the planet?
8 billion.
Okay, so 8 billion people approximately need to have oil products. Now, what if you get rid of them and then you keep 1 million people of value who own everything? You keep them, get rid of everybody else. Now, Earth's resources are fairly infinite.
Yeah.
They'll last much longer.
We are overpopulated. Scholars, I've looked it up. Scholars said the planet can only indefinitely support 1 billion to 2 billion people, and we're like 4 times that.
Right.
Don't look up those numbers. Those are off the top of my head.
Right.
But yeah, but look how much of the planet is starving.
Yeah.
Like over half of it.
Well, they're just the undesirables. They don't have anything to offer.
They're not mining lithium for our car batteries or making our iPads and shit. And,
well, and even those people, they have a higher price.
Yeah,
because if you starve them enough, they'll do anything.
Yeah. Well, I got a buddy, black guy. I was like, okay.
Thank God we were born in the U.S.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so you're okay with this slave labor as a black person? You're okay with it? Well, of course not. It's like, well, that's literally what you're supporting. And my half-black kids deserve restitution and all this shit, but like, you're literally using slave labor everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's making my iPad cheap enough and my beer cheap enough and my phone cheap enough to where I can look the other way,
Yeah.
which I'm guilty as charged.
Oh, we all
your
are.
truck, all
Yeah.
all this shit,
All
that
of it.
stove, all this.
Yeah.
Not this, but that shotgun probably.
Yeah, that's
Alf
nature.
here, probably
Alf, he's made of poly.
probably
oil.
probably slave labor, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, no, but a lot of it boils down to the fact that it's just easier to replace people and have things that are automated. I mean, it's just, I don't
Didn't a
know.
robot commit suicide at a Amazon warehouse where
Yes.
he just died? Like,
Yes.
oh, this is stupid. Like, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, maybe that's all fallacy. It could be fake. I could
Yeah.
just be making that up
Yeah,
in my
probably,
head.
but-
Maybe I'm just imagining it. But
Probably not.
probably not. I
Yeah.
mean, why not? You know, if you had the ability to replace all of your staff with machines, and then you hired 2 guys to maintain the machines, why isn't
Yeah.
that a bad thing for you?
Well, it'd be fine if the average person still had some kind of income.
Or why
I'm not
is that
going
a
on
bad
some
thing for you?
Yeah, I'm not going on some kind of socialized like everybody should have a minimum wage, which there should be. But
Yeah, to keep humans good. If
Just give 'em
CEOs
barely as-
cared about us, they would play the game better. But if they don't care about us,
give them barely as much as they need, keep them going to work, supply their health care insurance,
Yeah.
and supply their their 401k. Like,
Right.
no, get your own 401k. I had my thrift savings plan when I was in the Navy. I got like $8,000 in there. I put $8,000 in there in 6 years. That's pretty fucking good. But I got to roll
That's pretty
that
good.
into my other account because it's only getting 1%. My Vanguard is getting 9. Has averaged 9% over the last 10 years. They have a 0.2% maintenance fee, or what you pay them. So, oh God, I gotta show you this video. This is another episode, but this dude that founded the Vanguard was like, oh, you're getting 6%, but a 2% maintenance fee? Okay, that's not that bad. It's only 2%. Compound over 40 years should be $6 million. You're getting $2 million. And Charlie Kirk said just because somebody's getting richer doesn't mean somebody else is getting poorer, which is correct. I'm a big fan of Charlie Kirk. Should you see this for some reason, you won't. But it should be $6 million. He's like, yeah, you're only keeping half to a third of what you should.
Yeah.
So when you retire at 65, instead of having $6 million, you only have 2, which is okay. That's fine. In 60 years from now or 40 years from now, what's $2 million going to be worth? Not very fucking much.
Right.
$6 million. Okay, I can be in a retirement home for 10 years, not burden my family, and even leave my kids with some money. That's why I'm trying so hard to build a storage facility. And I got Mustangs and, well, a Mustang and guns and a deuce and a half and some shit I can leave with them.
that is
not
something to
garbage.
consider. Is the fact I've thought about that too. The fact that if you think about it, because I've done the math, and for us to retire, projectedly for inflation, we would need, what was it? I came to a conclusion. This
8
is,
or 10
This was
million.
even years ago, so
8
this
or
is
10
probably
million.
different.
8 or 10 million.
Yeah,
There's no way.
I think at the time it was 4 to 6, and that was 8 years ago.
Yeah,
I did
you're
the math
gonna
like
need a
8 years
lot
ago.
More than
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
promise
These
you
days
that.
it's like $10 million. Who has $10 million just sitting around?
Yeah, I mean, I can't sit here and say CEOs are bogarting wealth because there's always.
I think some
more.
of them are.
Yes, absolutely.
$20 million a year.
Absolutely.
How many years
But
have you been active? So let's say if you work for 1 year, you've made $20 million. That's more than you and I can think of. 2 years, $40 million. Okay, yeah.
Now we're really a lot.
$60 million. That's only 3 years of work, right? Think about how much you've made in the last 3 years. Is that $60 million?
It's 3 million, but no, not really.
Seriously,
No,
60 million.
300,000,
Okay,
but yeah.
60 million, 80 million, 100 million,
It's compounding.
120 million. That's only 6 years of work.
Yeah.
6 years of work to the normal average person is nothing compared to that. Nothing.
Well,
compared to
like
that.
I mentioned
because
before,
if you take 40,000, let's say $40,000 for the average person working at some place in America. This isn't skilled labor. This is an average human being. If you take 40,000 playing cards and you put them out in front of you, that's a lot of playing cards. Now put
tall.
60 million
Yeah.
playing cards out in front of you, because we hear numbers and we think of numbers as like, oh, 6, an 8, a 10, 140. Oh, okay, but that's not that much. 140.
When you stack them up and give
But
a
140
visual.
million?
Yeah.
If you actually saw how much money that was in front of you, and then you saw how much you make a year, you would be pissed
Disgusted,
off.
yeah.
Yeah, you'd be like, what the hell is this? And these people, they make that, and I'm sorry, but like, I know you're doing a big job, and I know that you work very hard, and you probably put in long hours, but you make so much more
Yeah.
than the average human being that you can't not expect.
You can't quantify it.
You can't
really
quantify
can't.
it. You can't expect people to not, or at least 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 20 people to eventually lash out, because
Yeah.
it's not fair.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, yeah, is it fair if the guy who does nothing but wake up at 10 o'clock in the afternoon, or well, morning, to me that feels like afternoon, but in the morning, and they go off and they do 2 hours worth of work and then they go off and party, should they make the same as me?
Of course not.
No, of course not. So it's a very difficult thing, but it's like,
But the person in that position is very lucky, or he's connected, or a family deal,
Connected is
or
a big deal,
there's
yeah,
50
connected.
people that felt like they should have gotten the job, or 1,000 people that felt like they should have gotten that job,
Right.
and they're making a 1% or 10%
Right.
of what they are, because it's incremental. Like, okay, you get $7 an hour, you get 20, get 50, $1 million a year. Like, there's
Yeah.
a very big jump at
It's a
some
massive
point.
jump.
Yeah.
Well, and rich people don't get rich slowly. There's that communication has been going around lately. Is the fact is that if you're going to get rich, you have to get rich quick.
yeah.
They say getting rich quick is never pans out, or what's the old thing? Get rich quick
A
schemes.
fool and his gold are soon
Something
parted.
to that effect. But the reality is, you don't get rich slow. Nobody makes $1 million over 30 years
Without
and
luck.
keeps it, because
Yeah.
you have to spend it. If you make $1 million or $2 million, it's because you hit and you sold and you bought and you made a move.
You got lucky.
You moved and you shook, and you made that $2 million really quickly off of real estate or off of something, right? Rich people become rich
Stock.
rapidly.
Yeah.
Money comes in big numbers very quickly. It
And
doesn't
then all
come
of a
in
sudden,
in small
everybody
numbers.
beneath you is a peasant. Like, well,
Yeah.
I mean, if I got rich real quick, dude, I'm telling you, I'd buy so many people cars. Like,
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
hey, enable them to. You're gonna
gotta
take a
take
break
this,
real quick. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna take a break.
But yeah, no, seriously.
So we were talking about if somebody wins the lottery, how the hell do you go broke? But they all do. So you have to have that incremental income, so to where you learn how to manage it. Because everybody that wins the lottery goes broke. And you were
Yeah.
just talking about, like, well, I'd invest the money, but I would personally probably invest it pretty recklessly, like too aggressively, and not know how to manage that kind of a big lump sum of cash.
Free money is, well, anything that's free, anything that comes into your life without having to work for it, it doesn't hold as much value to you. If you work for 30 years to buy that beautiful home that you've always wanted, that is the epitome of success.
Yeah.
But if that home just falls into your pocket tomorrow, you're like, oh, well, that was easy. Okay. And you don't value it as much.
Yeah.
So
Something given has no value.
Right,
Like
right.
You got too much too fast. And
Yeah,
I even
easy
knew
come,
people-
easy go.
Yeah, I knew people that commercial fished right after I got out of high school, got way too much money. He's a drug addict now and has been for a while.
Right.
Like, oh, well, how am I going to keep this income?
God, isn't that
like,
funny?
What the fuck, dude?
I mean, not
like,
funny, isn't
the,
funny,
the
but,
most gifted human being I've ever met in all my travels all over the world.
Right.
And just, oh, well, shit, I need to sell drugs. To keep this income up, because I've been addicted to this lifestyle, just like these OnlyFans chicks. Like, oh, yeah, I paid cash for my house. I invested my money. Yeah, but you're going to take a big drop in lifestyle once your pussy wears out.
Yeah. And you better invest now. And you better invest in the long term, because it's, There are chicks that do that, though. There's a handful of women who used unsavory means to get their money. and then they turned it around into a business. And it's like, if you're smart enough to do that, but
Yeah,
the
but they're
mass,
celebrities though.
Well,
they
but a lot of them
they do their
aren't.
TikTok and
It's the
they
same thing about men
branch out.
becoming
Yeah.
money. It's like human beings who fall into wealth quickly, they don't understand the value of the dollar because it was just like, oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
Like if I grab this ottoman and I pull it in, I'm like, oh, I have this now.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything for it. It's right here, whatever. So then I can mistreat it.
Yeah.
I can take it for granted. That's what they do for people too.
Well, they try to do things too quickly. Like, oh, I'll pay cash for my house. I'll do all these things, but they don't like, oh, well, what's the 10-year ramification of this, what I'm doing?
Right. Looking
I'm not
ahead.
saying I would. I mean, I know I would because son of a bitch, I'm gonna build a storage facility. I'm gonna invest my money in the Vanguard, get 9% off of it, and only take 80% of the interest.
Yeah.
And then so I got
But
compounding
this is stuff
interest.
you're working for.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I'm out of money. Like, okay, don't overspend. And all these
Right.
chicks will because they have this image on the internet that they have to uphold.
It's like rappers.
And yeah,
And rock stars.
football players, basketball players,
yep,
all these
football
fucking
players.
idiots go broke except for Jay-Z and like 7 of them.
Well, but he leveraged his. And that's what
MC
you gotta,
Hammer.
if you can leverage your image into a flow of income from
It's easier
there,
with TikTok and this dumbass bullshit. It's
well,
way easier.
It's just being smart. If you think that so if I show up and I have a haircut and I have a look and I have the thing and everybody's like, yeah, we want to look
Fresh
at you.
shave.
Here's a bunch of money, and I'm like, oh, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
this is going to be my mansion. This is going to be my fancy cars. This is going to. Oh, wait.
That I still
where
need
did
to
it go?
insure.
Where did it all go?
Well, because you need to insure it, and you still have property tax and all this. Oh, I paid
the long term, yeah. You have to think about the long
what
term.
the fuck's her name? Christine Rains? No, Nicole Rains.
Yeah.
I shit on her more than anything because, oh, I paid cash for my house. You still have property tax, and you still have to heat the pool, you dipshit.
Yeah.
What the fuck,
Yeah,
dude? Like,
there are residual
and
costs.
you are the top 1/8% that are making money off of being an online prostitute. Like, okay,
Right.
good for you. All these girls, when the money runs out, they change platforms and go, oh, well, you need to not be like this. I'm a saint. I'm a Christian now. I converted.
Yeah.
Dude, you're not
Support me.
fooling. You're not
Support me.
fooling anybody. You're
Yeah.
a fucking joke. And dude, oh, date an OnlyFans girl because, dude, you're just fucking, no guy wants a girl that needs a pick-me, who needs all this attention from guys on the internet,
right.
who's always on their phone, which I'm guilty as charged. Olivia gets me on me all the time about being on my phone too much. I'm guilty as charged.
As does my wife.
Yeah.
Phones are it's a drug, just like anything else. It's a drug.
It's a train wreck, Aaron. I can't look away. There's so much fucked up shit going on. And
Right.
Joe Rogan always
Input.
preaches, dude, put your fucking phone down. He's like, I can't be on Twitter all the time because always this angry fuck you and debating people all the time. It's not healthy.
And Joe
this
Rogan,
is healthy.
Joe
I feel
Rogan comes from a generation that had, I would say, at least half of his life without cell phones. So
Yeah.
he's qualified to put the phone down. If you talk about people born from 2005 on, they're not qualified to put it down. They don't know how to do that.
That's that smart shit I have you on here for.
Well,
right
it's true.
there. You're saying it right now.
Yeah, but they've never lived without it because it's and I mean I'm not.
I need my GPS. I need to text people constantly.
Right, GPS. I mean, how are you going to find your way around without a GPS? Okay, well, let's think about the space we're in. Now, town goes left, it goes right, it goes north, it goes south. How many blocks? It goes up this many blocks, it goes down that many blocks, And then we figure it out. We think, okay, but then you have to be more broad thinking. You can't, allow it to be passed on to somebody else. But, it's going to be very difficult for people as time goes forward to detach themselves. I mean, hell, we're already going in the direction of, Neuralink chips. In which case you'll have it embedded inside you.
You and I talked about the hive mind too. I think in the last show, you got your work stuff, you got your family stuff, all that. I've got my own work and family stuff, my projects.
Yeah.
Well, let's connect our brains together. I'm not like that involved in what you got going on, but I am
Yeah.
to some degree.
Yeah.
But
It has a divergence.
Yeah, take the hive mind of the whole planet is putting all your life struggles and all your drama and your bullshit and your relationships and all this shit into our brains as it goes, and it's just like, holy fucking shit.
It's a
like,
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude,
lot.
like it's too fucking much for us to handle.
We
I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's great because I can ask you, like, oh, hey, Aaron, I need help with something, or we're going to, dink with your truck, or
information sharing is
it's
wonderful.
Good. Or I got my deuce and a half for him, like, oh, hey, you ran into a problem. Okay, great. Let's all talk about it when it's specific. But it was just a bunch of drama and bullshit, and
that's the thing.
Oh, dude, we're all of our brains are being fried, man.
If you pollute
it. That's perfect.
Yeah, if you pollute it with emotional distress, then everything. I mean,
my husband's such an asshole. My wife, she did this. She's passive aggressive bullshit.
If you go into a job site and you're building a house or a rocket or a skyscraper or a foundry for building metal projects that are going to expand the empire, doesn't matter. If you go in any atmosphere where there's trying to be production, where you're working together for a goal, and then you pollute it with emotion and idea, and it's good to have idea. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. I'm not saying we should be robots. Obviously, that's not what I'm about. But the thing is that if you just go in and you're like, hey, and you share some sort of nastiness and you try to pollute the environment, the toxicity that everybody talks about.
Perfect word.
Yeah. It's like, then you're going to dissolve the progress.
Yeah.
Like if you want to build an empire and then you seed this hate and this distortion and this just
a distraction. It's a distraction.
It's a distraction, yeah. And you seed that in the empire, then you're going to cripple it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as a body. If the body is healthy and is thriving and it's growing, and then you introduce bad knees, it's going to collapse.
Yeah.
You have to think about that. Now, is your individual problem, and this goes out to mostly the woke people, is your individual problem, and I'm not saying that some problems are valid and some problems they need to be addressed, but does your
recreational outrage though?
Yeah, does your recreational outrage need to hinder the development of an entire group of people that range in the millions?
That's what they're doing. They're literally hindering the progress of all of mankind with this fucking nonsense. So,
yeah.
But I think
it is a very delicate balance.
Absolutely.
It's a very delicate
Are you ready to wrap it up? I think. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you for joining us. I hope you watched it all the way through. Aaron, everybody. So,
thank you.
Yeah, I think we got it all off our chest for now, and we're going to do this again later, and we're going to...
It was a good talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel better. You feel
I do.
better?
I feel a lot better.
Good.
Yeah.
See, he's got smart shit to say. I know we start off a little bit slow because I think we need to drink a little more beer before we start off, because I feel like it gets better as we go.
Yeah, because typically when you guys are watching, and we know you're watching, it's a little slow going because we feel like prying eyes, But then as we start to get comfortable, it becomes more fluid, and we become more honest, and and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And you guys should be honest too. Like, talk to us, tell us what you think in the comments, let us know what we need to be thinking about, what we should be talking about, and then we can weigh in on that with our opinions, and we can go from there.
I've heard like nothing in the comments about anything here, but I only have 360 followers too.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people. Tell us what you think. So come at us.
Anyway, thank you for joining us, and hope you join us next time. So have a good night or weekend or